Who is a lawyer?
A lawyer is someone who judges case in a court. A lawyer is someone who judges case in a court.
Can anybody attempt another definition? Because it's very important, and I'm going to show you very soon why it's important for us to understand who is a lawyer and the role of a lawyer in the society.
A lawyer is a person who defends the rights of other people in the court of law.
Better. Any other definition? Any other definition? Okay. Well, for those who have attempted to answer the question, they are very right. But a lawyer goes beyond defending somebody in court or protecting the right of people. And I will just use the Black Law Dictionary definition, the 16th edition. It says a person, that's a lawyer, a person learned in the law. One, as an attorney, a counsel, or a solicitor. A person licensed to practice law. Any person who prosecutes or defends causes in court of record or other judicial tribunals, or whose business it is to give legal advice or assistance. I want us to understand that word assistance in relation to any cause or matter whatsoever. So for us, it's very important for us to understand, because of the general perception that maybe a lawyer is somebody who go to court to go and lie, you know, and defend people and call black white and black white. There are various rights up on who is a lawyer. As far back as close to 500, 600 years ago, Jonathan Swift, in one of his works, said that to solve the problem of society, that they should kill all the lawyers, in one of his works. So there is a lot of negative public perception. Some of them are true. Some of them are true, but in most cases, they are not true. So for those of you who want to study law, the legal profession, a lawyer is supposed to be somebody who is learned, somebody who can give counsel, somebody who can render assistance, somebody who pleads another man's cause. So that the legal profession is not just about going to court. It's not about appearing in court. By the time we go through, you'll be able to see the various opportunities that you will have as a lawyer. But I think the primary purpose of talking to you this morning is just to encourage you to develop interest in the legal profession. And what the previous speaker said in terms of professional build-up, what you need by way of characters also apply to the legal profession. But I will start by giving you just a guideline as to possible courses you have to study before you can become a lawyer, or for those of you who may want to change your mind in joining the most noble and learned profession in the world. For those of you who are aspiring to become a lawyer, firstly, you must develop interest in art subjects. At the university level, they call it humanity. When I say art subject, I'm talking about English literature, history, government, religious studies, government, and those in the categories. And for you to be able to gain admission into the university, you must have your English and mathematics. It's now compulsory. Unlike during our time, you don't need mathematics to study law. During our time. And like the last speaker said, it was allowed then for you to have your 5 credits at 2 sittings. So I don't know the minimum requirement now, but I'm aware of the fact that for you to gain admission to any university to study law, as at today, you must have your English, you must have your mathematics. Then, of course, literature is also compulsory in some of the university. So for you to choose a path, a career in the legal profession, you must develop interest in the art subjects. Then, like the last speaker said, it is just not enough for you who is aspiring to become a lawyer to just be on the average. You must be able to excel because it's always highly competitive. In fact, during our time, I gained admission through the A level because the university I attended, University of Lagos, as at that time, is either you come in through A level or your first degree. In other words, you don't enter through JAM. It was only when we are leaving the university that they now make it general that you can gain admission through the JAM after your O level. So after your O level, of course, like we said, you must have your English and mathematics. You have option. Either you go for your advanced level, which is always what I encourage people to do. Because the legal profession, the subjects that will prepare you to become a lawyer, it's not just enough to study law of contracts, criminal law, commercial transaction, company law. You have to know about other professions. You have to know about other fields. You do psychology, jurisprudence, and logic, sociology. You must be able to understand human relation, the science of human behavior. So it's not enough for you to just concentrate on those core subjects. And that's why we said that for you to be able to succeed as a lawyer, you must be able to read widely. You must be able to read widely. For those who are close to me, I used to encourage them that there's no way you can be a lawyer without reading. There's no way you can become a lawyer without reading. And even if you succeeded in becoming a lawyer, there's no way you can become a successful lawyer without reading. Not just the core subjects or maybe things that relate to law, any other field. And the reason is very simple, because as a practicing lawyer, you may have cases that have to do with medicine, with constructions, with engineering. So if you don't have a wide knowledge, there's no way you can successfully prosecute a case. So the first thing is for you to have your own level. Then for those who want to go through the advanced level, I always encourage those who want to study law to go for the advanced level. And the reason is very simple. From my own personal experience, I discovered that doing the A level give you an advantage over those who come in through what we call indirect, as at that time. I don't know what they call it now. In other words, those who come in through writing jam and the rest. You have a very solid foundation. What you are doing, for instance, in history, in literature, in mathematics, you have gone far ahead those who just have the ordinary idea about those courses. And it gives you a very sound and solid foundation to prepare yourself as a lawyer. So after your A level, of course, there are almost all the universities as are today, either you do your GCE, then there's what we call interim matriculation board, IGMB, applies to most of the University of Lagos, Ibadan, Ilorin, most of those ABU. they conduct those advanced level apart from the one conducted by GC. So you can take opportunity of those two exams. During my time, I wrote the two, and I was able to gain admission with the two results. So after your A level, of course, you have to gain admission to university to prepare you for your LLB. In some university, it's 3 years through direct entry or first degree. That was the case during our time. But for those who are coming in now through JAMB, I think it's about 5 years before you go to the law school. So you must be prepared for such training for a period of 5 years. Most of the core courses, you have law of contracts, evidence, jurisprudence, criminal law, and some other choosing courses, international relations and the rest. In fact, now I understand they've introduced courses relating to cyber, information technology and the rest. And I must tell you that for those of you who are entering university in this period, you don't have any reason to fail any course. Because during our time, to even have access to information was very difficult. I went to a public university, University of Lagos. To have access to information was very difficult. But nowadays, if you can use your information technology very well, there is nothing in terms of access to information that you can never get. And like I've told you, it's not enough for you to just aspire to want to become a lawyer. You must be prepared for it. You must be prepared for it. So after your 5 years program or 4 years, as the case may be, you obtain LLB. That's Bachelor in Law. And this one automatically qualifies you to be addressed as a solicitor. In UK, you can practice successfully without going to the law school. You can practice without becoming a barrister or attorney, because they have a separate institutions for those training. But in Nigeria, there is no way you can practice as an attorney, that's as a lawyer or as a barrister, or like the description she gave, somebody going to court without being called to bar. So we have a few systems of solicitor and advocate, or barrister and solicitor. The law school is a 1-year program, and you are expected to have a practical training of what will prepare you to become a lawyer. It's a 1-year program. We now have a decentralized law school now. Unlike during our time, we only have one Nigerian law school. But I think we have about 5 campuses now. So you get prepared for 1 year. Then after obtaining your BL, Bachelor of Law, then the body of benchers, this is the body responsible for calling to, eligible candidates to the bar. When you are called to bar, you can now practice as a barrister. Don't forget the fact that after your training in the university, with your qualifying certificate, you can practice as a solicitor. And the difference is just that a solicitor can do any other legal work apart from going to court. You can choose to be company secretary, you can be legal advisor. We'll come to the opportunity that comes with the legal profession. But if you want to be addressed as a lawyer, then you must go to the law school. Then I also want to correct one big misconception. You don't address a lawyer as a barrister. Because when I was being introduced, I keep on hearing barrister Ayo Asala. For those who are not lawyers, it's permissible. But a lawyer cannot address a lawyer or yourself as a barrister. You can put Ayo Asala Esquire, barrister at law. But you don't address a lawyer as a barrister. But it's very common within our environment. But what I've seen when I was the chairman of the NBA, you even see lawyers coming to the meeting and they will be making reference to a lawyer as a barrister. That's not a prefix. Normally, we put Esquire after our name. So I also want us to keep one at the back of our mind. Now, apart from the questions of learning You know, it's not enough for you to acquire all this degree and expect that you can become a lawyer. You must also possess the character. In fact, if you see any of the university certificates, they say that I will satisfy the requirements in terms of learning and character. But that character is even more important than just learning. You must possess the character. And like the last speaker said, one of those attributes that you have to possess before you can even be called to the bar is that you must, one, if you don't have the passion, if you don't have the interest in the profession, there's no way you can succeed. So you must develop the interest. I used to tell my children that, because I went to a rural secondary school, and guess what? I did not see a lawyer. I think I finished secondary school at the age of 16 plus. I didn't see a lawyer. I didn't set my eyes on a lawyer until I finished my secondary school. But guess what? I was determined that I want to become a lawyer. And that was what see me through. So you must have the passion. You must have the determination. No any other person can help you. You must be prepared for you to be able to go through, because it's not a course. In our time, we are about 100, but about 50 of us graduated in the first year. Some people because of lack of concentration. Because for me, if you can pass your A level, if you can pass your O level or A level without cheating, there is no reason that you cannot go through the university. There is no reason why you cannot go through the university. So you must have that determination and commitment. Then, of course, good character and manner. We've had incidents, even when I was the chairman of my branch, as a member of the Council of Legal Education, you see people who are aspiring to become lawyers, possibly fighting in the law school, or quarreling with people, or getting involved in cheating and some other things. Once you don't have a good manner, in fact, the way you address your colleagues, the way you address your lecturer, the way you relate with people generally, you must be able to have those manners, so that those are part of the quality that will prepare you to become a lawyer. Of course, you must have the comportment and self-esteem. You must have the confidence. If you don't have confidence in yourself, there's nobody that will come to you to brief you as a lawyer, to advocate or seek counsel from you. So it's very important that we have that comportment. Of course, when I get to some of the challenges of the profession, I'll draw a distinction between having self-esteem and being proud or arrogant. Yeah, then of course your dressing manner. You see, your dressing says a lot about you. If I come to this place, possibly wearing jeans, then there's this cap they normally put at the back, maybe with some of these sagging jeans and all these things. And I introduce myself as a lawyer. You'll be wondering. So your dressing, very, very important. And we don't, as lawyers, we don't put on a loud, maybe putting on red. I've seen people putting on red suits and some other things. As lawyers, the wig you are putting on, the wig, what does the wig symbolize in terms of as a lawyer? Sorry? Why do we put on wig? Sorry? Somebody will answer that question. And why do you put on the gown? You don't know the reason, and you are putting on the... You see, the wig symbolizes wisdom, you know, symbolizes wisdom, and the gown just to show the solemn atmosphere in terms of what you are doing is a solemn... you see some of these Orthodox churches like Anglican, the pastors normally put on almost something like the gown, the bib, the wig, and the stud. So it's also very important that our dressing, your dressing says a lot about you. And there's a saying that the way you dress determines the way you will be addressed. There's always the presumption that When you see some people, you say this one is the area boy. I'm not saying there are no criminals in suits, but there is a presumption in your favor when you are well dressed and you are, addressing a public or you are relating with people. So as lawyer, you must dress properly. But there are some universities now, they have a code of dressing for their law students, which is a tie, white and black. You must put it on before you can be allowed to the classroom. Of course, you must be respectful to constituted authority. Then punctuality. You must always be punctual. You must always be punctual. I've attended on 2 occasions where some people were not called to bar in particular years because they came late for the ceremony. So as lawyers, you must be very punctual. And you can only develop that attitude right from this stage. So punctuality is one of the good traits or attributes of a good lawyer. Then lastly, you must have the fear of God. If you want to be a successful lawyer, you must have the fear of God. I'm not talking about human being, but for you to fear God because you are not seeing God. The legal profession, just like any other profession, you see somebody having problem and trusting his problem to you. Somebody who is being charged to court for murder, armed robbers, or kidnapping, which carry death sentence, now come to you. It's not as if the person cannot speak or talk, but believe that you have a special skill to assist him in solving the problem. So if you don't have the fear of God, you can compromise the case, you can be negligent, you may not even pay attention to it. But like I used to tell my colleagues, apart from the responsibility we owe to our profession, you will also answer to God at the end of the day. So lastly, you must have the fear of God. Of course, as lawyers, even those of you who are aspiring to become a lawyer, because I have that experience when I told my mom that I want to study law. You see, what it translates to is that it's a course work, There is a work that if you are doing it, you will receive courses and some other thing. Then there is also, apart from that, the other poor public perception about the legal profession. And that's why I started by encouraging us to give a definition of a lawyer. And from our definition, it is not that somebody will commit an offense after telling you, you now collude with the person and tell the judge or the police or the sheriff that no, Mr. A did not commit the offense. But I want to draw a distinction in terms of our role. I'm using A, for instance, who was alleged to have committed the offense of rape, for instance. And as a lawyer, maybe you are around the vicinity of the scene of crime. You saw the struggle, you saw the attack, and subsequently, the same Mr. A briefed you to defend him in court. What will be your reaction as a lawyer? You almost saw Mr. A committing the offense. What will be your reaction? Learned friends, are you going to take up the brief? No answer. Are you going to take up the brief? If you saw somebody committing an offense and subsequently the same person came to you to say that you have to come and defend me as a lawyer, Barrister One, give it to. Are you going to defend the person?
No.
Wonderful. What of the other lady there? Are you going to defend the person?
Yes, sir.
Okay, why? Because you saw him committing the offense.
Maybe he was not in his right sense.
When he committed the offense?
You said he almost did it,
but he did not do it.
No, I said you witnessed the commission of the offense.
I would defend him. He came to meet me to defend him, so I will defend him.
Okay. And if the person went further to confess to you, in the course of the interaction between you, I now told you, say, lawyer, I actually committed this offense. Will you still go ahead to defend him?
Yes, but I'll say the truth.
Sorry?
Yes.
And you will still defend him?
Yes, but not with a lie.
Sorry?
Not with a lie.
Thank you very much. Now, I think I tend to agree with the last person. Firstly, your professional duty, because we have our code of conduct, our rules of professional ethic, and this one is important because I'm saying it because of the general poor perception. Our rules says that as a lawyer, you must not reject a case to defend somebody because of your personal opinion about the case. You cannot reject a case simply because you saw the person committing the offense. You cannot reject the case. But you also have a duty, which is a higher one, to the cause of justice, not to pervert justice in the cause of defending the man. Your duty as a lawyer is to ensure that the prosecutor or whoever is prosecuting the case, the state, should prove the essential elements of the offense. Because in law, before somebody can be held responsible for any act or omission, two elements must coexist. One, the actus reus, that's the actual fact of what happened. And that's the one you saw. But there's what we call the mens rea. When you get to criminal law, you understand it. That is the intention, the mental state. The intention. Now you have the law that says that insanity, for instance, is a defense to any criminal allegations. Once you can prove that the person was not mentally capable of committing the offense, or maybe even the person is a minor. So what I'm trying to say is that we lawyers, we are not what the Yoruba call agbejoro. The Yoruba also have the wrong perception that you just go to court, what Mr. A tell you is what you are going to repeat. No. If you look at the definition, you say we counsel, we solicit. There are instances when I'm having criminal cases that I encourage my clients to plead guilty. And guess what? Even above all, is the Mr. A that will enter the dock when the charge is being read to him. Are you liable or not? Are you guilty or not? It's not the lawyer that is pleading to the charge. So there is no way you can hold a lawyer responsible in such a situation. But I must put the caveat. Just like we have bad lawyers, we have bad politicians, bad doctors, we also have bad lawyers. But they are not representing the interests of the profession. We have lawyers who lied. We have lawyers who pervert the cause of justice. We have lawyers who will collude with the other party to compromise somebody's case. And that's why I said for you to be a successful lawyer, you must have the fear of God. You must have the fear of God. But guess what? Even on daily basis, lawyers are being derobed. On daily basis, lawyers are being derobed, sanctioned, and even charged to court. So the reason why I'm encouraging you on this is that so that people will not start telling you that or maybe you are going to a professions that, but as far as I'm concerned, the legal profession is the most noble profession in the world. And that's why, when the medical doctor was talking, he said that after becoming a doctor, you can also become a lawyer. But I've never set my eyes on a lawyer. After becoming a lawyer, I want to go and become a doctor. When I was in the University of Lagos, there are many sitting administrators, governors, pastors who are aspiring to become a lawyer. So there must be something in the profession. And when you get there, you see the wide opportunities. Once you have the commitment, and like I said, you must be above average. You cannot succeed by just having 50, 40, 50. You must try to excel. And you must read widely. You must read widely. So, of course, also in a society, because our democracy is still evolving. When I was called to bar in 1992, 93, we were in a military dispensation. And for lawyers, for you to go to court, you just see a decree. But overnight, a course of action that was in existence, you see the military will just bring one-page paper and say that the court cannot look at the matter. But presently, what we are enjoying here, we are gradually moving to the stage of rule of law, because one of the challenges for lawyers is absence of rule of law. We still have situations where court will make an order and the police or maybe the governor or those who are in authorities will not obey them. But the situation here is now better. What we are having under this democratic dispensation is better than what we have when we started. So it could be very frustrating for a lawyer. But these are part of the challenges of society, and we are sure that by the time you come into the legal profession, maybe you become an activist to challenge every illegal action of government. Now, what are the opportunities for you as a lawyer? What are the opportunities? There are jobs that are exclusively reserved for lawyers. Once you are called to the bar as a barrister and solicitor, no any other person, not an engineer, not a medical doctor or scientist, that can contest that with you. I'm talking about the opportunities, why you must become a lawyer. For attorney, for barrister, it is only somebody who has been licensed and called to bar that can advocate for other people in court. The right of audience before a court of law to represent other, because there must be a distinction. If you have a case, even if it's murder, the Constitution allows you to defend yourself. And we have seen instances. I've even done a case against a layman at the Court of Appeal. But guess what? He lost. So the profession gives you the right of audience after being called to bar. Then for those of you who want judicial appointments, you can either become a magistrate or become a judge. From the High Court to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, it's only somebody who has been called to bar that can become a judge. To become a judge, you must have practiced for 10 years. Court of Appeal, 12 years. Supreme Court, 15 years. Then we have Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. In all the 36 states of the Federation, one lawyer must be appointed to the state executive as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice. Non-lawyers cannot do that. While lawyers can become Commissioner of Education, Finance, name it, Commerce and other things. No any other profession can struggle that with you. So that's an opportunity. You have it at the federal level too. Of course, you also have those of you who want to take up teaching appointments as lecturer, professors. Okay. You know, you have the opportunity of becoming a law lecturer, and it's only somebody who has been trained as a lawyer that can have that. You have Solicitor General, Director of Public Prosecutions, legal advisors to companies, company secretary and parastatals, board and agencies, research assistant to judges, solicitor work like CAC work. By the time you get there, corporate practice, then state council, those who work with governments, and several others. Then for those ones that are not peculiar to you, if you see my write-up, I'm a charter secretary and administrator, and I practice this separately apart from going to court. For those of you who are ladies, there are wide opportunity in secretariat, this thing, big organization. So you can be a tax practitioner as lawyers, because tax is law-based. You can be an arbitrator, a conciliator, or a mediator. Then corporate practice. You have those who are practicing in the corporate world, regulations of companies and the rest, you know. Then, of course, you have politics. There are many lawyers who are involved in politics and real estate. So I think I will stop here, maybe to take one or two questions. Thank you very much. I can take the, okay, let me take the questions. I'm expecting my learned friends. Or if there is no question, I can sit down.
Good day, sir. So I wanted to ask, the jury in the courts, do they have to study law?
Sorry?
Jury.
Jury.
Yes, in the courts. Do they have to study law?
Okay. Thank you very much. Well, the jury system, we don't, is very alien to our system. But we have it at the customary level. But the answer is that you don't need to become a lawyer to be a jury. The jury system, we had it at the beginning because our legal system is tied to the United Kingdom. Those are laymen that assist judges, you know, because cases are based on facts and law. So there was these presumptions in those days that for you to arrive at justice, you must have jurists, those who will represent the interests of the society, you know, maybe traditional institutions or religious institutions, who can bring in to some extent, maybe morality into law. But gradually, because of our peculiar system, we don't practice it. In America, they still practice the jury system, such that they will make a finding of facts and submit it to the judge for the application of the law. But the simple answer is that you don't need to become a lawyer before you be a jury. At the customary level in Nigeria as of today, the customary system, if you have been to the area customary court, you see that the president is a lawyer, but the two assessors, we also call them assessors, are just ordinary people, maybe retired teachers and some other thing. The intendment is that they will assist them to interpret the custom of the people. So you don't need to be a lawyer.
Sir, I have another question. Sir, if you study law in Nigeria here, and you don't want to be a Nigerian lawyer, you want to be an international lawyer. Sir, is it the 4 years, the 5 years that you study in the university that will you go back abroad to study 5 years again, or is it the law school that differs?
Okay, thank you very much. I even forgot to make a statement because it's very wide. I will start with those of you who may desire to go abroad to study. Especially because of the similarity, most of the people who study abroad normally go to UK. When you come back to Nigeria, before you can be called to bar, you must attend the law school. But in attending the law school, we have the bar part 1. There are courses that those who study in Nigeria, which are compulsory, like our customary law, maybe law of evidence, and land law. When you come back to Nigeria, you must do those courses before you will join your mate who graduated in Nigeria. Now, if you have been called to bar, before you can practice in Nigeria, I will answer this one before I go to what you have said. Before a foreigner can come to Nigeria to practice, it's either he has been called to bar, he must have attended Nigerian law school and be called to bar, or the Attorney General of the Federation, there is a provision, but we no longer use it. It was in those days, during our Awolowo period, that the Attorney General can give a fiat to somebody who has not been called to bar to come to Nigeria to practice. Now, for those of you who want to go abroad to go and practice after becoming a lawyer or attending the university, in UK, you must attend one of the INS, INS law school. It's just like body chartered to call people to the bar. If you want to practice as an attorney in UK, you must attend one of the INS. Then if you also want to practice as a solicitor in UK, you must attend the Law Society Law School. So what I'm saying in effect is that then the school will now prescribe some courses for you to take, maybe for I think in UK is about 2 years. Then if you want to go to US, you also have to attend their law school. And in doing that, just like what we have in Nigeria, there are some compulsory courses which you did not have the opportunity of doing while you are in Nigeria, that you have to study over there before you can be called to their bar. So you have the opportunity, being a law graduate, that will reduce the period of years you will spend, for at least a year or two before you can practice in any of the districts. Like in US, they don't have a centralized system. Each state have their bar, and before you can practice in any of the states, you must have attended their equivalent of law school.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please, I would like to ask, if you are a lawyer or a barrister, how are you going to get your money? Do you have a fixed salary, or is the number of cases you do that determine how much you earn?
How do you get your money as a lawyer? Well, in fact, there was an issue that I wanted to discuss that I skipped. You see, one of the greatest challenge from my personal experience and many other lawyers, very few ones that come from a privileged home. You see, when you are called to bar, immediately you are called to bar, there is one or two of my lawyers around. When you are called to bar, you see, people presume that you are just making money. Immediately you are called to bar, you see your parents will abandon you, your family will abandon you. And almost in all professions, you see that the remuneration is always very poor compared with societal expectation. But for a lawyer, of course, you get your money by charging professional fees. You charge professional fees. But we have also our peculiarities, because by the definition, you are supposed to render assistance. You see somebody who has been who is bankrupt, have problem, they want to send him to prison, and is coming to you. In such a situation, you may not be able to help him. The truth of our society is also that the majority of people who are involved in crime are very poor. Armed robbers, kidnappers, when you see them, in most cases, they don't even have the means to hire lawyers. And personally, for somebody like me, I've done more than 100 pro bono cases. Cases that I've done at the High Court, Court of Appeal, and Supreme Court. But not every lawyer that can get involved in that. So the simple answer to your question is that through your charges, you render soliciting work. It's not only by going to court. You can prepare documentation. You can be a company secretary, you can be a legal advisor, you can frank documents, prepare deeds, render opinion to so many corporate organizations. You can have retainership with big companies. You render assistance to them, even work for government, So through your professional services, you charge fees. You earn money based on services rendered to people. But like I said, and like the medical doctor said, you cannot start the profession by using money as a focus. And there is something I used to tell people. I have that personal experience because some of my friends are fourth generation lawyers. Their great-great-grandfather was a lawyer. Their grandfather was a lawyer. Their father was a lawyer. And here they have been called to bar. And those of us that, like I said before, that I didn't see a lawyer until when I was 16, starting from that background. But what I've seen is that when you are determined to excel, you will break the ceiling. You will break the ceiling. So, as a lawyer, you have so much wide opportunities. We have wide opportunities. And once you start, just like the old wine, the more you grow. I'm about 26 now, post-call. So when you are starting 1 year, you won't expect what I can charge or what I will get now. So that money shouldn't be the focus. But I can tell you that as lawyers, you have very wide opportunities of making money. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any question from the staff? Any question from any of our staff? If there's any other question from students, maybe we'll see barrister after now. Okay, you can ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir. So, like overseas or abroad, when you get a white lawyer, like to defend your case, and you get a black lawyer, like they tell the black lawyer that they'll tell you that you got a black lawyer, and they treat the black lawyer like it's low class. So why?
Well, I think you are talking about racial discrimination. But the truth is that I can speak for UK. Most of the leading law firms, especially on immigrations, are black. The leading law firms in UK, I can tell you that we have a larger percentage of black people who are lawyers. They are Queen's Counsel, equivalent of our senior advocate of Nigeria. They are doing very well. But mind you, I'm not saying that we don't have racial discrimination. It's everywhere, it's still with us. And for those of us, for those who are living abroad, they will tell you on a daily basis that they still experience it. But it wasn't as what it used to be. So if you have a very good lawyer, a sound lawyer can present your case. In fact, there was a case that I had cause to get a solicitor on immigration matter. And all the cases that I've done with a foreign law firm, they are all blacks. They are all blacks. But their law firm there is not like what we practice here. You can have 100 lawyers in a law firm, both black, Indians, white, and the rest. So it's not as pronounced as the way it's being said.
Sir, please, can you list the type of law, like the types of law, and which one does, like a lawyer that divorces people, which one does it fall under?
The type of law. Okay, you are talking about specialization. Well, it depends on, you see, when people say this is a constitutional lawyer, this is a criminal lawyer, you know, and all these things, I don't really think it's a question of perception. It is a question of perception. For instance, for divorce proceedings and all those things, you see increasingly these days, there are now activist lawyers just taking an aspect of the profession, maybe family law, doing soliciting work, assisting people who have been abused in their matrimonial home, and the rest. But our economy, unlike what we have abroad, they actually have area of specialization. You can see a law firm in abroad. We have very few in Lagos and Abuja, where you see people with truly specialized, maybe as a criminal lawyer or corporate practice, maybe tax. You see a lawyer that will just specialized. But this emerging partnership for us to specialize is increasingly becoming necessary because of the world becoming a global village. Unlike what you know, these days they were saying people are getting first class is not possible. When I was in University of Lagos, when I left University of Lagos in 1992, it was only 2 people. A faculty that started in 1966, it was only 2 people that recorded first class from the faculty. So, but the question is that I've looked at it and I believe very strongly that it wasn't because people are dull in those days. 2 reasons. One, maybe those are teachers then believe that how can you give somebody 90 over 100 in art subjects, you know, and do you want to compete with us? So that mentality was there then. Then access to information. Access to information. There is hardly anything you are looking for today that you cannot get through the internet. So unlike those days that we struggle when they say go and read law of contract, cheating on contract, it's only one textbook that is in the library. Then the lecturer will took it and go and eat it somewhere or keep it. So when they say go and read this something, you don't have access to it. Maybe when you are in the class, what the lecturer dictates to you, you may not be able to get it. But these days, you can have access to information. And if you see the result coming out from law school now, you see that people are getting first class, both at the LLB level and BL level. So what I'm trying to say is that the world is increasingly becoming necessary for people to specialize. But because of the level of our economy, if I say I want to become a criminal lawyer and practice in Warri, how many criminals will come and patronize me? So it's like you are demarketing yourself. But honestly speaking, in the next 10 years, you see that lawyers must specialize. As lawyers, we must encourage it. And it's becoming a trend now as we speak.
Okay, just one step, please. Just a step. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir. I want to ask, when is a case considered international? Is every case that can be settled within the nation? When we say maybe international relation or a lawyer that can function in this nation and this nation, how does it come? How does a case become international case?
Is it in relation to the right of a lawyer to practice outside the country, or in relation to the subject matter? Or I can answer the two. For a lawyer, for you to have, just like what one of the students, my learned friend was asking, that how can you practice outside your source? Okay. You could see that in Nigeria, for instance, but increasingly we're having instances of, especially from South Africa, big law firm. You know what they do is that they will come to Nigeria and recruit lawyers and take them to South Africa. Then when they have all this juicy corporate practice, when a company is coming to Nigeria, there are certain things they have to do, maybe getting expressway quotas, immigrations, or registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission. Now, because they have a lawyer who had been called to bar in Nigeria, in maybe in South Africa or any part of the world, they will now use the person to prepare the documentation and send it to Nigeria for perfections and registration. But strictly speaking, you cannot practice as a barrister or solicitor in Nigeria, or as a barrister without being called to the bar in Nigeria. Then there are some legal services you can also not render, except you are a legal practitioner called to bar in Nigeria. But we have a situation where you have international collaboration between two law firms. There are law firms that we now have a kind of loose partnership with a firm in Nigeria, and through that they can practice outside their shores. Okay. Then in terms of subject matter, international law generally relates more to treaties and chartered, enter between two nations. Like at the African level now, we have the African Chartered on Human and People's Rights. Okay. We have the ECOWAS Court that is now enforcing them. So if you feel there are some law that we are provided for in our constitution, or maybe right to dignity, right from unlawful arrest, in that African Chartered is also provided for. So where you see a situation whereby the government of the day is oppressing somebody, and you feel that you cannot get justice within the country, you can invoke those laws in any of those regional or international courts. That's why you see a situation whereby some presidents, like the former president, this Gbagbo, or Charles Taylor, or so, you know, they were taken to the International Criminal Court in Hague because there are treaties entered into between the two nations, or the, you know, which they are signatory to. So at that level, they can take it up, not because the domestic law has no provisions. But if you look at our system, is it that all the presidents we have in this country are not corrupt? How many presidents, dead or alive, that have been charged to court for corruption? So when you have incidents of man inhumanity to man or genocide, the international community or organization will now invoke those powers. So those are the areas. Then you have international treaties that can be enforced in international fora and institutions.
Thank you very much, sir. The reason why I ask is because sometimes when two parties, when election has been conducted, like it is now, you know, we read a lot of what is happening. And you look at the whole thing, sometimes you see that the leader there has stationed who is going to, you know, give verdict of the case. At the end of the day, even the person who is supposed to win the case will lose the case. And at that situation, isn't it possible to invite the international law? That is why I asked the question.
You know, it's not in relation to election petition, for instance. I'm doing a handful of them, but you don't have, like the first thing I told you is that there must be treaties or legislation or law that allows you to invoke international institution, either court or body, to intervene. You see that when the European Union, the last time when they issued their report about our election, it's only advisory. They can only advise INEC on what to do and not what to do in the next election. Because you also have to respect the independence and sovereignty of us as an independent nation. But for those, there are some crimes, there are some offenses that have been internationalized, you know, like war against humanity, genocide. Maybe there is, like what those Fulanese herdsmen are doing. We are not just being frank to ourselves, you know, can invoke international, you know, intervention. So crimes at that level can be looked to, especially when you have a situation that the government of the day, or you have inadequate domestic law to tackle those things. But issues about election is still within our it's still within. There is no treaties we have entered to. It must be based on treaties, which either you have domesticated or you have signed it into law. Because you can also domesticate those international treaties, or you be a signatory to it, and once you are a signatory to it, any individual or a nation can enforce it against you. But our election jurisprudence is still domestic, and that's why people will just cry and there's nothing you can do. In terms of compositions of maybe likelihood of bias and all those things, the truth is that our system is still evolving, and we are praying that by the time they become lawyers and judges, they will create a better society for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please, we can appreciate Barrister Salamo. Please, more. You can do better than that. Look at the way this guy is sitting. She's not even clapping. Come on, you can do better.